name's Kristen Inks. I'm a tattoo artist at Eternal Tattoos in Eastpointe.
Is that your real name?
What, Eternal Tattoos? Yes, my real name is Kristen Inks. At least it will be for another 3 months.
How long have you been tattooing?
15 years.
How long have you been at Eternal Tattoos in Eastpointe?
Originally started working here 10 years ago. I actually was selling furniture at American Freight in between shops, and I met this guy who was paying for his furniture, and he reached out to like hand me the cash, and I seen the work on his arm, and I was like, holy shit, I've never seen anything like that. Where did you get that tattoo? Who did it? It's like Marshall Bennett. I'm like, who's Marshall Bennett? You don't know who Marshall Bennett is? I'm like, it's like at Eternal right down the street. I was like, pulled up, I was like, look man, I gotta get tattooed by you. You're awesome. Started talking to him, he's like, what? You pierce? I'm like, yeah, I pierce and I tattoo. He's like, you want a job? I was like, what? So yeah, I took the job. I know he wanted me just as a piercer, but I told him I had to tattoo my clients because I already have clientele. You know, I have to have some place where I can take care of them too. So he's like, all right, you can tattoo and pierce here. I did. I think I was here for about a year. I just don't think my skills was up to par. So he had to let me go. That's all right. And I worked all over the place for a long time after that, different shops. But I always wanted to come back. And they've always been good friends to me. That's where I met you. Had a huge crush on you too, but you know, you had a girlfriend, so I avert my eyes. We were in the same room next to each other, and I got to listen to you talking to your clients, so I feel like I kind of got a feel for the type of person you were. Always admired your work. Never got tattooed by anybody here, but finally, I even had a dream about getting tattooed by you. Still haven't got it done. But yeah, I came back here in February because we reconnected. Tom and I reconnected, and we started hanging out, spending some time together, and it just seemed like it made sense knowing that we both wanted the same things. We were both tattoo artists, happy with where we were at. Him still at Eternal, but me, I was at Exquisite Body Art in Trenton. But we wanted to, you know, move in together and do our business and meld our life. And so we sat down with Marshall and was like, yo, you got an open room. Kristen's moving out here, so she's coming back to work. And now I'm back. So we'll be here for a while.
Anybody else you want to give a shout out to that you've worked with in the past?
Shout out to Bill. Bill Asenius has always had my back.
What makes you the proudest about being a tattoo artist?
What makes me what?
The proudest.
The proudest about being a tattoo artist? Because I get to do art for a living, and the people that I work with, they love my art and they appreciate it, and they're honored to get it done by me, and I'm just honored that they want me to do it. So I'm very, very happy to be a tattoo artist.
What are your thoughts about being a successful tattoo artist in the Detroit area?
I did that, so what? What's next?
Do you consider, do you do any artwork beyond tattooing?
Yes.
What kind of stuff do you do?
All kinds of stuff. I also like to paint. I like to do crafts. I like to make art out of everything. You know, dead things, dried floral arrangements, dead animals, bones, jewelry, garbage, things that people would normally just throw away. And I'm like, but we could make something beautiful out of that. So it's a similar thing with tattoos, because people come in here with garbage tattoos and they're like, don't worry about it. You can fix that up.
Do you consider yourself a spiritual person? And if so, do you consider making art and tattoos a spiritual experience?
I would say it is sacred. If sacred is spiritual, because to me it's more important than just the human experience, and it is of creation. And I think, all living things create in one way or another. So creation is life, and that's what we do. So yeah, maybe it is spiritual.
Who do you look up to in the tattoo industry? You kind of covered that.
I looked up to so many people in the tattoo industry. I look up to a lot of the greats, Bob Tyrell, Marshall, you, Tom Bestie. I looked up to my peers, people that started alongside me who had no idea what they were doing, and they're great. Steve Biondo, he's out tattooing in California now. Victor Hatch over in Westland. Gabrielle and Dan over at Baby Dolls. There's a lot of artists that are just out here killing it, and they just keep getting better, and they always impress me, and I love to see artists growing and changing. I love seeing that.
What's the biggest advice you gave to people starting to tattoo, or anyone who's wanting to get into tattooing?
Before I give them advice, I would ask them a question. Can you draw? And if they can't draw, then I'd be like, start there. And if they do draw, then I would just advise them to keep doing that before they start on skin. Otherwise, they should be willing to fix all of the fucked up tattoos that they did when they didn't know what they were doing. So hear this, if I did a fucked up tattoo on you, I'll fix it. Just get a hold of me. Because I know I did not know what I was doing when I first started. So, and I appreciate everybody who's given me tips and pointers, because when I did first start tattooing, a lot of people weren't interested in trying to help me. They didn't want anyone else in the industry because they felt like that would take business away from them. I never believed that. I always thought there was enough room for, and just want to see good tattoos on people. You know what I'm saying? It's not about the money. The money comes. You just, like Marshall said, like you said, you have to have a passion for it. It's got to mean more than just a paycheck. Because if all we were in it for a paycheck, we could have picked different jobs. Art is so important. It was important before tattooing, and it's important still.
It kind of leads into my next question. Was your experience getting into the tattoo industry difficult?
I would say it was difficult. So how it happened was my mom married a tattoo artist. He was a street tattooer. He wasn't the most proficient or artistic, and I had never really met a tattoo artist before, but I seen the tattoos he was doing and the kind of money he was making, like hand over fist, and I was like, if he can do that, I know I can do that. But how do I do it? So he gave me a tattoo machine, but he didn't show me how to use it. And there was internet back then, but it wasn't like it is now. I don't even think YouTube was back then. And there wasn't tutorial videos. They didn't want you to know how to tattoo. So really you had to get an apprenticeship, or you had to just figure it out on your own. So I figured out as much as I could on my own. Got good enough after 3 months of tattooing my friends at the kitchen table to make a portfolio, which is a bunch of pictures I printed out from CVS and a little photo album, and took it up there and was like, hey, can I get a job? And they were like, yeah, when can you start? And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be a tattoo artist. But I was working at Gibraltar Trade Center, and there was no room for growth, because the way that it was being ran, it wasn't about art. The tattoos were, you know, priced for you. You didn't have a choice whether you could do it or not. And I was just thrown into it, not knowing what I was doing. And I just thought that's how it was, because I didn't know any other way. So I know I just became unhappy with how my tattoos were turning out. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. It could have been something as simple as like the needles loaded backwards, or I'm running my machine I don't know, like, and nobody would help me.
A lot of great artists like you started at Gibraltar.
Yeah, well, like a lot of artists started, you know, it was like, you know, America in a box, you know, for like, you know, figuring out. Anyway, while I was there, I was still looking for apprenticeships because I wanted somebody to teach me what I didn't know. And it was really hard to get an apprenticeship. But finally, Roscoe at Johnson's Tattoo gave me a shout. He said I could come in, and I was so honored because Johnson's was the place where I got my first tattoo. And at that time, he was the best I knew. Like, he was known. They've been in business since 1979, I think. And I mean, I took that opportunity. So I left my paying job at the trade center. They were pissed, but whatever. I took that apprenticeship, and I learned what I could there. It was difficult for him because I had already picked up bad habits, you know, and so he had to try to unteach me certain things. And being a woman, he was afraid to say something that would make me cry or whatever. So, you know, he did the best that he could, and I did pick up from him. But every shop that I've worked at, I went to Baby Dolls after that, and I can't name all the shops I've worked at, but I've always tried to find shops where there were artists that were more experienced than me, that were willing to teach me, and that also were willing to learn. I didn't want to work with people who thought they knew everything already, because I just didn't believe in that. And I have worked with people like that. One of the artists that started my chest piece, I looked up to him because I'd never seen color work like that, and his color blends were amazing. And he was like, "You can't tattoo without a stencil." And I'm like, "You can't tattoo without a stencil," you know what I'm saying? Like, but tattoo artists have these things that are just like law to them, and like they've been doing it a long time. There's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. I didn't necessarily believe that. Granted, there's a right way to load your machine and all that and set up, but like, you know, just because you can't do something doesn't mean it can't be done. So I just push the limits, you know.
Anything in particular you like to tattoo?
I like to tattoo pretty and interesting, intricate, fine line designs. That's my favorite. Free-flowing pattern work with organic content. And I like to tattoo things that are extremely meaningful to people, because that is a gift to them. And even if it's not something that's super creative or interesting to me, I feel honored that these people let me be a part of their life in that significant way. So, love it.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Television shows or movies?
How's that a question? I like television shows and movies. I love TV. I have a tattoo of a TV on my leg. You seen it? We'll get a close up later.
How do people get at you?
Well, right now my business card just has a QR code. And then if you scan that QR code, it'll take you to Eternal's website, where if you click on my name, you can see all the work that I've done. My email address is on there. There's a contact form you can fill out with your information, what you want. I will get it. I will respond to you. And that is the way I will contact you, or you can contact me, because I don't really like people hitting me up through Messenger or Instagram or Facebook or my phone, because it's just a lot and I get overwhelmed that way. So if you just go to the website and get a hold of me that way, I'll get back to you.
Any advice to any people wanting to get tattoos that don't know about you yet?
Find out about me. I don't know.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Anything I'm missing? That'd be great.
Good.
Yeah.